grew up in LA, you had enough and you left, right?
Yeah, so I grew up in the area. I've lived there pretty much my whole adult life, or at least 75% of it. So since 2010, that city has just completely crumbled, especially Santa Monica, Venice, downtown. As I mentioned in the email, I a couple years ago, unfortunately, had to spend some time on the street for a little while. So yeah, I would know pretty well what's going on. So
to give people an idea, so by goddamn mess, what are some things that you are fed up with that you're like on the fence, maybe going to leave LA forever?
So it's the blatant corruption, the socioeconomic disparity.
A lot of reasons why I decided to leave California in general. Everything from identity politics and politics to the traffic, overcrowding. This is probably going to sound a little bit racist, but there's a huge illegal immigration problem there.
And the very first night, I'd park on the street and go to bed, come out the next morning, start my car, and it sounds like I started an airplane, and some guy had come, lifted my car.
Catalytic converter, yeah.
Very first night.
And forget about calling the police, because they take like hours, okay? And so you got to just handle it yourself. It's like the Wild West, but with a bunch of people that don't want to work.
That's a good way to describe it.
Things actually happen in LA, and people turn a blind eye to it all the time. Like fights on the bus. I've been on fights on the bus at least once a year. When I lived out there was a fight on the bus, like in the back, and people act normal. Like they don't even look at it. They don't say, "Hey, stop it." Like they just don't mind your business. They got a strap. You don't want to. I don't see nothing, hear nothing.
I mean, it's crazy expensive. It's, there's everybody, I'll run into all these people who they're fake people, I mean, I've been trying to kind of get out and just kind of hang out at places, and it's just really expensive. It's several $100s just to go out for a night, so I remember from Pennsylvania, I remember it being much more cheaper. I remember it being like a better crowd of people.
there's two main problems with LA right now. It's completely inept and corrupt politicians. Incompetence would be the word that's going around. Unfortunately, people have been voting for liberal policies for the last 30, 40 years, and now you're starting to see the effects of those policies. Number two is, and the most pressing and important problem there, is the homeless situation. Not only is it a city problem, it's a societal crisis as well. These people, now here's what LA likes to do. They just like to keep throwing money and housing at the problem, thinking, well, if we build housing and if we put these people in to housing, that'll solve the problem. That's not going to solve the problem, because you're not solving the core of the problem. The core of the problem is that the people have drug problems, alcohol problems. They come from very broken families. They have mental, I mean, there's schizos out there. These people are not being helped. If anything, they're being forgotten. And I would know that because it happened to me. Thankfully, I met a pastor that gave a crap about me and gave me a chance. And I took that chance and I got off the street and made something of myself. But there's 90% of the people that will never get off of the street, ever. And it's unfortunate. So I would say those are the two biggest problems that LA faces right now. I don't even want to get too into it, man, because I've seen too much. I've seen some not good stuff. Basically, to tell you the truth, say about 80%, especially if you go to Venice or Skid Row, you're going to see The Walking Dead. That's what you will see.
I've seen it. There's a video I shot when I drove around, just one part of it, and was like, everybody was like, holy shit, like this goes on for like a half a mile straight of tents in any direction. So why is it LA? I mean, I hear it's warm weather and they cater to the problem, meaning they give them water and booze and cigarettes and drugs and money, and they kind of keep them stabilized. Is that the truth? Like, why is LA is basically the bullseye for the homeless community of the whole country right now?
Because they make money off of it. That's why. And they want to make money off of it. It's funny that you asked that question. You know how many people I met from other states that either got out of jail or were suffering in whatever the state they were in, like, you know, and they got kicked out of their state because they don't put up with homeless? They all came to LA because they heard it's the land of milk and honey for the homeless. That's why. We have some of the best benefits. We give out like $234 in food benefits. You get $200 in GR, so that's $400 right there. There's this wonderful thing called Prop 47, where basically you can steal $900 a day from any store.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard of this, and not get caught. Or you can get caught, all they're going to do is write you a ticket and be like, come to court. And then you don't show up for court, and you just do that all over again. I've met people from jail that specifically got out of jail from Arkansas or Mississippi or somewhere, and they just came out there because all their homies told them, hey, man, come out here. You can do whatever you want, dude. They don't trip, you know, just do what you want. And they do. And they do.
$200 per what, week or month?
$200 a month for $234 for food, and then $200 a month for GR. Mm-hmm. So that's $400 a month, free money right there. And then a lot of these guys get disability or some sort of something from the state because of mental issues or something. So I mean, there's a big black market out there too. Venice Beach had a big black market for guns, drugs, whatever. The Epoch Times has a channel on YouTube that talks about that as well, so they'll inform you on that. I mean, it's just like it's just the Wild West again, dude.
One time I talked to one of the homeless guys who was begging, and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to give you money, but can I just ask you some questions? And I was like, so do you get money? Do you have an income? And he was like, yeah, the city gives me $1,500 every month.
Wow.
And I was like, well, what do you do with that? And he was like, I go to a hotel day one and I stay there for 3 days, 3 or 4 days. And then I've used up all my money. So I go back on the street. And I was like, why do you do that?
So if a homeless person in downtown LA gets $1,500 a month from the city?
Yeah, he got $1,500 just handed to him. And I don't think they really regulated that at all, because it sounds like he just went and blew it on probably alcohol and like a hotel room to stay for a few nights, and then he was just back to the streets. But also, like, when we lived by the university, we would walk downtown a lot, because any other direction you would walk in, you were going into a bad place. But if you walk downtown, it's kind of cleaned up. But anyway, you take, Figueroa that goes from USC into downtown street. Yeah, if you take Fig, you can go right downtown. But as the months went by, there was you would walk down there and there'd be one camp. And then the next day there's another tent by it. And then pretty soon, the whole sidewalk would be blocked by just tons of tents. And this is the main road that leads to Staples Center. So I just wonder, from the city's point of view, don't you want a pathway for people to be able to walk to your athletic events and stuff going on in the city? And this is just the main entry road going into downtown, and they just don't have sidewalks that you can walk on. You have to walk into the street to get around to the tent city.